Hey, friends, and welcome to the Next Best Thing podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Cline-Thomas. I'm here to help you live a life that you design instead of choosing a life you think you have to settle for. Let these conversations, let this podcast be your guide. First, thank you all so much for your great feedback on the last episode. If you missed it, we really talked about kind of the status of the journalism industry and why I believe that every single journalist needs a rewrite strategy. Yes, you journalist who smiles in the newsroom and everyone adores, the one who just got a promotion, the one who just signed a new contract, the one who just got the great email saying how dope you are. Everybody needs a rewrite strategy. And the idea of a rewrite comes from a community of journalists and storytellers that I am building called The Rewrite. And we offer webinars and workshops and courses and a course. We have a course that's actually going on right now to help people transition into careers that they want to thrive in. It's not about leaving journalism. It's about giving people more options. And that's exactly what has happened, is that we partner with experts. So like, I'm not the teacher, I'm just the facilitator and I'm the curator of helping people get more options in their lives through this podcast, through my own lived experience, through reading and all of this stuff that I've done. Like, I'm knee deep. I'm actually like over my head in information, right? I've done more than 60 interviews on this podcast. Just really into what makes for a successful transition. And while everybody has their own separate journey, I really do think that there are some core principles that more people need to adopt, because the workplace has changed. And I don't think enough people are changing with it. And especially in journalism, we talk about this in the terms of journalism, but it really can apply to everything, but especially in journalism. I have the personal belief that people are stuck, or they're not exposed when so many are going to have to enter this workforce that they are completely unfamiliar with, because the financial situation in news is forcing a lot of people out. And the math doesn't math in terms of having everybody who gets a buyout or a layoff. There are not enough jobs within the industry to absorb them. And so most people are going to have to find something else to do to sustain them financially. But I believe you don't just have to be sustained financially. You could also continue to be fulfilled. So this is going to be part 2 of the conversation, because it really stems from this post that I saw on LinkedIn that has gotten a tremendous amount of engagement, but I think speaks to the mistakes, honestly, that some people are making, and no shade to the person who posted this at all. I don't know who she is, but I was just like, you know what? I think because of the tremendous amount of engagement it got with a, right on, da, 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 da. I was like, let's just go ahead and talk about this. Side note, I am still sick. So there might be a pause. If you're watching on YouTube, there might be a transition because I'm trying to cut out my coughing. So we are just going to push through. Okay, we're going to push through. All right, so let's just go ahead. I want to read to you this LinkedIn post. That, again, I don't know this woman who's posted it. It got a tremendous amount of engagement. A friend put it on my radar. She says, and this is a woman who currently is an anchor and a reporter. And she says, a lot of reporters and producers and people in the TV industry in general want to make more money and have a steady schedule. It's understandable and it works for some people. I tried it for a whole year. I absolutely hated it. Working in a 9-to-5 where you have to watch the clock, people routinely check in on your exact location, and half of what you do is rubbing the right elbows and policing your tone in an email. It can be mind-numbing. There are much healthier 9 to 5 environments than what I experienced. But what I learned is that nothing gets me up in the morning like news. The sense of accomplishment, helping people meet deadlines, and working on a team that has the same goal. There's nothing like it for me outside of news. So while I know there are a lot of people jumping ship, and I know that this industry is not perfect, I want to make it better from the inside. I want to stay on the ship. So if anyone is pressuring you to leave or trash talking journalism, and you know it's what lives in your veins, I've got your back, and we can make it better for those who come after us. Okay, you know, and a lot of people are saying, um, like, you're right. Um, this is great. Um, you know, and then people are saying some other stuff too. Um, so it went LinkedIn viral. It absolutely did. So first, I just want to shout out, and this I said this in the last episode, the dreamers, right? Like, we got to do what we wanted to do, like being in a space, and getting to pursue a career that it's not even a career when it comes to journalism, because you make so many sacrifices. It is a lifestyle. It is part of who you are. It is all, like, it informs everything you do, and everything that I do is still informed by journalism. It taught me so much. And so bravo to her, to being among us, because I still consider myself as part of the us. I'm the us on the outside now, but I'm still part of the us, that we got to do what we loved. And I think from that space of love, I think it's really important to deconstruct what works, right? What is it that you actually love? Because it's like, well, from what people told me, because, I don't know, but that you don't just have one soulmate, like finding a man, or woman, or whatever, non-binary, whatever you choose. There's not just one person out there for you. Like, it's not just one person. And people are treating news like it's Jesus. Like, it's just one savior. That's it. Like, no. Okay. It's like a man. There are other ones out there too that can satisfy you, that can meet your needs, right? Like, it's not just one. So stop treating this one thing like it's your home, it's your man, like it's your one and only soulmate. So I think that, okay, we need to deconstruct what works and what doesn't. What is it about it that's in your veins? Saying it's in your veins, that's a good start. But let's deconstruct that. On the best day, on your best day, what happened? What happened that was amazing? For me, I learned that I like to work with really competent people. I like working in a team with competent people, to achieve a goal. That's why I love working with the Atlantic so much, on the Atlantic Festival in particular, because it's like they're so incredibly competent. And we are putting this huge thing together, and everybody is coming to the table on their game. So that's what I love. I really love finding out information and sharing it with people. Like, I can't keep information to myself, hence a podcast, hence the rewrite. Hence everything that I do is about sharing the information that I've learned, talking to experts, and sharing that with an audience. I really love that. I really love to be in community with people, which is why I liked local news. And I really didn't have aspirations to go to network, because I felt like I would lose that sense of community. Also, what don't you like? I did not like that morning meeting. Hated it, actually. Hated everything about it. So now I don't have meetings before 11 o'clock unless it pays me, unless it's a gig that pays me. I do not have meetings before 11 o'clock. I hated being available all the time to work. I work now more than I worked then, but it's on my time, right? Like I hated that. So again, I just going into, you have to deconstruct what works and what doesn't work. And the idea that there's only one thing that could ever work for you ever, ever, ever in this world is going to set you up for disappointment. Because the fact of the matter is that, saying that you want to stay, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but just saying, I just want to stay on the ship, you might not have that ability. You might not have that choice. That's a very privileged position. And it's also a position that does not, and we'll talk about this, take into account what's actually happening right now. So if you want to white knuckle something, you don't ever white knuckle a career that is not in your hands. You don't white knuckle that, right? And so you're setting yourself up for disappointment if that's how you're going to approach it, where it's either this or nothing. Nothing else will satisfy me. We also have to think about, like, how did you get into journalism, right? Most people got in where they went to school for it. They did internships. They started small. If you're of a particular age, you probably started small. And so you invested time and money. I invested about $200,000 from undergrad to grad school, plus free internships. Now, the interns get paid, but in my day, the interns weren't getting paid anything. So I had an internship, and then I had a job because I needed to pay for my books and all of that stuff. So I was hustling out here. So I did all of that for journalism, right? And so when I was working on transitioning, which I worked on for years, like the idea of I'm just going to apply for jobs until I'm blue in the face and do no type of investment in myself was never an option, because that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, but that's what so many people are doing. They spent all this time investing in this career, and now they want to pivot industries. They want new opportunities, and they're just not willing to invest time and money into it. And instead, the strategy, I'm just going to apply till I'm blue in the face. And I'm just here to say, like, how does that work? My investment looked like seeking advice from people first, because I didn't know what to do. And so I did what journalists do. When you don't know the answer to a question, you find the expert and you ask them. So that's what I did. And I just kept asking questions. So first it was literally interviewing people about, which is how the podcast came about. If you're an avid listener, you know the podcast came about because I reached out to my professor, Dr. Carrie Ann Rockamore, who was on at the beginning of the year. And I asked her, like, okay, she had made this huge, she pivoted it from academia to entrepreneurship. I was like, when did you know it was time? Things of that nature. And she was like, you should interview people. So I started doing that, and I found that fruitful. And that's doing this podcast is the manifestation of the advice that she gave me. But it started with interviewing people and asking them who had made a transition. They were all like at least 10 years older than me. They can be your peers, but for me, I went to older Black women who are older than me. They are not old, but they are older than me, because I needed wisdom. I went to conferences, and sometimes I had to scrape money together to go to these conferences. I just was in community. I went out to events. Even when I worked the morning shift, I went on Eventbrite, and every week I would go to one event in the comm space when I moved to New York. Before that, I was just out and about, and I was just talking to people and going to conferences and paying for myself, even if I had to pay and, be in the middle seat to try to save money, like all the things to invest in myself. So I invested in myself, in my education. I invested in myself because I am my best investment. I'm a multiplier, unless, just in case you weren't aware. I know that if I get the info, it's over, right? Like I will multiply it. I know that when I invest money in myself, I multiply it. So all the money that I invested in myself in the pursuit of my transition, I have gotten it back multiple fold. So I see people online talking about, man, it's a really tough time for freelancers, or, like the money's not like it used to be or whatever. And maybe that's true, but I haven't struggled. And I think I haven't struggled because of the ways in which I have invested in myself and the strategies that I've employed. And thank God I haven't struggled. And so, yes, that's what I'm trying to, through the rewrite, help people do, is not struggle on this other side, but you got to invest in yourself. And a lot of people are too content with just reading emails and applying till they're blue in the face. Because the thing is that the workforce is completely changed. And so we're not getting the gold clocks. So we're not here to help you get a job. We're here to teach you how to create options for yourself, because you're going to need options over and over and over and over and over again. So number 2 is invest in yourself. And we're talking about money, like real money and time. And then the whole thing is know thyself is number 3. I just have 4 points for y'all. So the LinkedIn post talked about, this terrible 9 to 5. And let me go back to what she was saying. That she had to watch the clock. People routinely checked in on her exact location, rubbing the right elbows, policing your tone in an email. Like, why? The question is, why would you take a job where that's the culture? Because you don't fit in, right? Like you don't fit into that culture. But this is why, because journalism doesn't, you don't consider culture in journalism. You consider prestige of the outlet. You consider the city. You consider the pay. But journalism teaches you how to be a cog in the wheel. They don't say, hey, what would you like to do here? How do you like to show up? Nobody's ever asked, how would you like to be managed? They say, this is how we do it. You do it this way, or else you're out. And it's just that cut and dry. And so we concede in different ways for survival, quite frankly. And not all concessions are like painful, right? But what it does when you're doing that over time is that you don't even know that you can ask yourself, what do I want? And then what works best for me? And we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I replied to this LinkedIn, and the first thing I said is, 1, 9 to 5 is not the only option. And 2 is that what a lot of people miss is the self-reflection piece. Like, you got to ask yourself a lot of questions. It's not like, oh, I'm not doing this job, so I'm just going to go ahead and do something else. And I look at job postings, and all I'm asking is, what can I do? Oh, let me look at this job post. I can do that. Let me just do it because I can do that. But is that what you want to do? At the beginning of every podcast, we say, we're here to help you live the life that you design, so you don't have to live a life you think you have to settle for. So if you're just like, yeah, I can do that, let me just do that. That's not what we're over here to do. What do you want to do? And what you want to do also involves what environment allows you to thrive. We have, in the rewrite, we have a course, and the course is actually going on right now. So it's the 2nd week. And this week, actually, everybody gets a career assessment. And the career assessment is like dope. It's so detailed. And one of the things that it does is that it not only helps you, it ranks your transferable skills, how you're supposed to talk, how you can talk about it, what are the highlights of it. But it also, it tells you the environments that you should thrive in. So I did it. last year, which is why we now offer it to folks. And it showed me why all of the newsrooms that didn't work for me, why it didn't work for me. One of my big core things that I need in a workplace environment is innovation. And so television news, local news by definition is the least innovative place. Like dinosaurs, right? Like we don't adopt technology, no nothing. And so that's why it was such it grated on me because it lacked innovation. And that was like one of my top 3 characteristics that I need in terms of the environments that I need to thrive in. And so now I chose entrepreneurship, partly because I'm a glutton for punishment, but also because the people that I work with, my clients now, are all innovative. I mean, I work with one of the biggest tech companies in the world. And the things that I've learned from them, it's like blowing my mind, right? Like completely and utterly blowing my mind. But again, it's just you have to know who you are to know what you want to do and also where you can thrive. So it's not about just getting what you can get, so you can run towards something instead of running away from something. So, know thyself. And it requires radical honesty. Like you gotta, sometimes the answers don't be the answers that you want to hear. Sometimes it's not the answers that you really want to hear, but you have to have that radical honesty because it serves you on the other side. Last thing is make the business your business. This whole idea in this post about, so if anyone is pressuring you to leave or trash talking journalism and it lives inside your veins, I've got your back and we can make it better for those who come after us. Oh God. If you are not in a money generating role, okay, like this is how business works. If you are not in a money generating role in journalism right now, you are not changing shit. Sorry, Mom. I know my mother and her friends from church listen, but sorry. You're not changing shit. That is that is just a demonstration that you have no idea what is actually happening. If you are a line item that costs money, right? You cost money. And especially in the local news space, like in the local television, I just got back. I was cross country for a shoot because I produced this web series, and I was cross country for the shoot. And I was watching local TV. I don't have cable, so I don't watch much TV. And I don't watch local news just because I don't have cable. But I finally was watching, and I was just like, guys, this is, and it was a big city, major city, and watching the newscast. And it's just like, I don't know what y'all think you're changing. It's too late. Really, the people who are still there and who can stay there, you are riding it to the wheels fall off. I think that's great, right? Like you can make a lot more money in TV, especially if you've been in it for a while. Because you might have to take a pay cut coming into the private sector because you don't actually manage anybody. And so on television, you can make a lot more money without being an actual manager than you can in the private sector. So I say ride it to the wheels fall off, right? But you have to understand that the wheels are falling off, and people are not watching, and things are not changing, and you can't have an I have a dream speech on the Titanic. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like you have to fundamentally understand what's happening with the finances, and no one cares about your feelings. And that's the problem, is that journalism doesn't ever expose you to business, right? Journalism wasn't making business decisions, right? They're like, we're going to create the content that we want to create and shove it down your throats. And then people are like, I don't actually care about any of the stuff that you're talking about. So I'm going to click, So while stations or print outlets are thinking like, I'm competing with the other print outlet, or I'm competing with the other station in town, what you're really competing with was the remote turning you off, or people not going to the newsstands anymore and not buying your product, right? Like, that's who the real competition was with the customer, and not with the other person down the street. But sometimes, news is posturing for people in journalism, and they're not actually posturing for their customer, right? And trying to get to know their customer and trying to get to know their customer's needs. And the people who are making the editorial decisions are absolutely clueless about who the customer is and what the customer wants. And so this whole idea, we can change it from the inside. Like, no, you can't. It's too late. Too late. You can ride it till the wheels fall off. And you can ride this wave as long as it goes, but you just need a rewrite strategy while you're doing this, just in case. Because the just in case isn't like a far away thing. It could be right here. It could be next month. I learned how layoffs are happening. I have a really good friend who's actually, I'm going to tell you about a way that you can help get yourself together with this. But a friend of mine was talking about, I'm not going to steal her thunder because we have an event coming up on November 2nd where she's going to be sharing this. But if you understood how layoffs happen, a friend was a former news director, and she had to administer layoffs. And she broke it down to me about how layoffs happen, how management, upper management, the edicts that they give their middle managers about how to carry out layoffs. And baby, if you understood the business of the business and made it your business, you would know. You would have a rewrite strategy yesterday. And so that's the whole thing. Make the business your business. I don't think everybody should be an entrepreneur at all, because it's ghetto sometimes. But I do think that everybody needs to be about their business and understand like what is really going on. Everybody, and not just journalists, but everybody in every corporate setting. This is all a game. This is all a game. Your feelings mean absolutely nothing. To you, they do, but to business, it does not mean anything. You need to have the ability to create options in your life so you can jump from one thing to the next, so you're not caught flat-footed. That's my goal. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm talking to y'all about. Is that I don't want all these people flat-footed, because I go on LinkedIn. I like live on LinkedIn, right? Also because through the rewrite, every Saturday we send out job postings. So we have, between the job roundups that we have that people put together on LinkedIn to individual job postings, it's between 50 and 100 every single week. So I'm curating that. I'm like on LinkedIn all the time, the way my algorithm is set up, and because of the people I strategically follow, I get a lot of comms jobs that I pass along to the community. And because I'm there, I just see a lot of people who are like, I don't know how to say this, because I have a lot of empathy for them, but they are broadcasting their perils in finding work. And it breaks my heart every single time, because I believe they're putting themselves at a disadvantage, because it's hard for people to hire somebody who's like begging for a job online, and they're at the end of their rope, and it's because they don't actually have a strategy. And the strategy never stops. That's why I'm sorry, I'm like about to cough. The strategy never stops, which is why with the rewrite, we say we're not here. We're not here to find you a new job. We are here to teach you how to create options in your life, because this is something that's going to happen over and over and over and over again. You never stop employing these. Like, this is how it works now. This is not, oh, just right now when I'm laid off and this is what I'm going to do and then I'll be good. No. This is, you got to have a new way of operating in this workforce, and it never ends. And I think one of the things that was really helpful to me in news is that I got a whiff of that really early. And I was like, bet, rose colored glasses. After my first job, I was like, oh, it's not a meritocracy, because I saw very mediocre people getting a lot more. And I was like, okay, it's not a meritocracy. Like, that was a lie from childhood. Just work hard and you'll get, that's a lie. And then it was just like, oh, you just need to know a lot of people. So like, I don't over index in resumes. I over index in relationships, because I'm at the point where I know how to do my job. And so like, I kind of feel like if I have to apply for a job cold, then I'm not going to get it. And I just need more relationships. So I over index in relationships. And so I don't have to sit and put in, cold job. Like, you can do it. It happens. But I don't want to be in a pool of hundreds of people. Like, I just don't want to do that. And so I just try to meet cool people and make friends and go to lunch and go to, do virtual conversations and support people and their things. So I'm in the streets a lot. And that's why I probably am sick, because I just was in the streets and building a business and doing work for clients and, all this stuff. It's hard. It's like, and it's work. It's hard. It is work. It is work. It is hard work. And it's constant work. And so this misnomer of like, that's just, we don't live in a society, like, we are in a capitalistic society. Like, it's a game. The game will be played whether you participate or not. And so I want everybody to play to win. And people are like, capitalism and especially Black communities, like, and this is because of, okay, fine, we don't have to like capitalism, but it's here. You know what I mean? Like, you can have as many self-righteous conversations about capitalism as you want. That's what we are living in. Like, you can't opt out, like, or you won't get paid. Like, there's a way to do it, maybe in a way that's maybe more aligned, but like, your bills are due. I don't know another way to pay my bills. So, okay, I'm wrapping up. So on November 2nd, for those specifically journalists and storytellers, what we're talking about actually applies to a lot of different people, but specifically for journalists and storytellers on November 2nd, I am inviting you to the Rewrite Blueprint, where it's on Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern to 3:30 p.m. Eastern, back to back hands-on workshop. We have got Renee Washington, who is a friend I was telling you about, the former KNBC, NBC LA news director, is going to pull the curtain back and tell y'all how these layoffs are really happening and what you need to look for in your newsrooms, to know if you in danger, girl. To know, things that they're starting to say, because that's the thing. News communicates to other people, but they never communicate internally about what's going on. We tell everybody else's business, but the company is not telling its own business to its employees. So it'll be like, congratulations on this thing, and then lay everybody else off the next day. Paramount did that. where they had the Super Bowl, and then 2 days later laid off a ton of people. So Renee Washington is pulling the curtain back and just helping people become resilient, in teaching people how to be resilient during these times. Our other experts are Ariel Dean, who's a dear friend of mine, also my business coach. One of the things that happens is that after a layoff is that people don't have a whole lot of savings, right? So they might have their severance, they may have a little bit of savings, but it's taking at least 3 to 6 months to find a new job. Upwards of 6 months and longer is more traditional, especially right now. We're about to enter the holiday season. Hiring is going to start slowing down here soon. But layoffs are also going to be happening. And so what to do in the interim? A lot of people, or some people, have to just resort to different jobs, right? That are not of their professional caliber, just to get some money in. And so we're going to talk about with Ariel how to monetize your expertise, meaning how to identify what your skills are and to create a package, to create an offer, to get some money in. This is not about being an entrepreneur, but it is about how when money gets tight, when that money is running out, that you can figure out how to make money on your own, to buy yourself some time to get that opportunity that you actually want to get. What happens to people is that money starts running out. They go into scarcity, understandably, like, I got to just take anything. I got to take anything. I got to get some money in. They take a job that they hate. They're still miserable. They haven't actually solved any problems. So what we're going to teach you how to do is how to create an offer, how to go out with your offer in the interim, just like a freelance thing here and there, how to make some money, get a few $1,000s in at a time so it can buy you time until you get your opportunity. I will say that I think everybody needs to know how to make money from their skills on their own. Like, it is the most empowering thing. I might go get a corporate job one day. You might see me with a corporate job, but let me tell you what, I will move totally differently because I know that I don't need a corporate job to make money, because I've proven that to myself, right? And so I think everybody, especially in the instability in the market, I don't know if the market will ever be stable. I don't know if we might have a new normal here. Everybody should learn how to make money just from their mind, from their expertise, just on their own, void of any other company backing. It is a very powerful thing, and it can keep you afloat during tough times. Another guest is Candace Harris of Pinnacle Financial Group. So excited to partner with her. Pinnacle Financial Group is a bank, and she's going to be talking about how to make your money make sense. And it's not your typical financial advice, like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Like, we're not doing that. We're giving you practical advice where are you starting today and how to be better. You have to fund your dreams, right? So this woman was talking about how journalism is her dream, and she loves it. It's in her veins. Like, to be able to do something else, it takes time, and you need money to buy you time, full stop. So we're going to have some other things in there too on Saturday. A lot of information. It's $99. If you wanted to work with these folks individually, it would be a lot more than that. So we're giving it to you at value. Our Rewrite course members, because membership has its privileges, they are already signed up for it for free because they're part of our community. But you can go to, I'm going to go to the description. That's probably the easiest way. I'm trying to figure out what the easiest way is. Go to the description, and we'll put a link for you to sign up. Again, November 2nd, only $99. It is a full day. There will be a replay available for a short time after. It's going to be some good stuff. I'm super excited about it. But it is to address this fundamental issue that there is movement and there is change. And as we said earlier, you need to invest in yourself. I never paid $99 for anything. I paid hundreds and over $1,000 for stuff. And so we are offering it at value, understanding that these type of investments are new for the community, but it's just really important. It's just really important because I don't want folks out here flat-footed. So we are giving you all the information that I have, that I know, the research. We are offering it up and packaging it so you don't have to go over here and over here and over here to find it. We are packaging it up with a bow to really get you started. You will walk away with tangible information. November 2nd, $99. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to the description to sign up. Let's just get it together. And if you want to stay, stay. Like, we need journalists now more than ever. Folks are out here lying left and right. We don't need stenographers. That's another topic for another day, about how journalism is turning into stenography and it's just regurgitating. We need the critical thinkers. We need people who are asking tough questions of our elected officials, making sure that they are serving. That's what we need. We need people who are the critical thinkers, who have the cultural competency, who are telling us something different and not just telling us the things that we've already seen online. Like, that's what we need. So if you want to do, you can't change the finances, but if you want to do a little something different and be able to stand out from a crowd, be known for something, be known for not just showing up and just telling a story generically, be known for what you talk about, have a beat, have an area of expertise that makes you more valuable. Invest in your social media presence to tell these stories, not just on the medium of your company, but on your personal platforms. Create a brand around how you approach things, and it will bode well for you. Okay. That's it. I've talked enough. Thank you for listening. I will see you again next week. I think we'll have another one next week, barring any complications with my health. And yes, you can do this. I do want to make sure that I'm ending on a positive note, because I know I can seem like harsh and matter of fact, but it's because I am now on another side and I see things so incredibly differently. And I see how journalism has been the best gift, but it has also been I don't want to say an oppressive force, but it is. I say it this way. I'm going to end this way. This is it. Your journalism skills transfer, your journalism mindset does not. There is a lot of undoing of that journalism mindset that is necessary if you stay in journalism or if you leave, but you got to break that journalism mindset. It is rooted in scarcity, and scarcity never wins. Scarcity never wins. There is enough. There is enough. There is abundance. There is more. There's not just enough. There's more. There is more out here for you. You need the mindset to go get it. All right. See you next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Sorry for my coughing. And we'll chat again real soon. Thanks for listening to The Next Best Thing with Andrea Cline-Thomas, a Mountain Court Media production. The music was written, recorded, and produced by Gavin Casey, also known as Dark Purple. Now, if you like what you heard, please subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and write a comment on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to share it with friends. And I hope this episode helps you on your journey. See you next time.